Doc Loves the Kids, a local Kitsap County nonprofit organization established in 2015 whose mission is to provide activities, programs, and community support for at-risk youth.
They put the you in community.
Doc Loves the Kids.
Welcome to Uncommon Courtesy.
We give you the courtesy of conversation
that's uncommonly spoke of.
I'm D-Mac.
I'm Wesley.
And this is the show. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to catch us on our other shows, Plays and Parlays, UFC with LT, The Friday Fix, and Civil Discourse. Hello, Senior Wesley. How are you these wild days in America?
Man, I'm always pretty good, man. Today I'm especially good, but I'm happy that certain things are occurring that were not occurring here recently. But I'm all right. How about yourself, man?
I'm just watching the world burn with marshmallows.
Do you really feel like the world is burning right now, or do you feel like you think people are starting to wake up a little bit?
I think yes, the world is burning. It's the hottest day ever recorded in Florida for some odd reason that made news. The Midwest is underwater.
Yeah,
the Middle East is getting bombed all over. Cambodia and Thailand are fighting.
There was a lot of flooding going on over the last couple of weeks. There's been a lot of flooding.
Wildfires I've noticed everywhere.
It's been crazy, man. They had typhoons in China. There's been a lot of really weird, especially occurring with water. You know what I mean? So that's just telling us there's there's an overabundance of water, probably from some of the glaciers melting away, pushing it. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? I'm not a weather specialist, but it just seems like there's been a overly abundant amount of flooding going on everywhere.
Well, I was watching this movie the other day or yesterday, and the guy said it. He was like, look, every species that's ever been on Earth has been wiped out. You know what I'm saying? For some odd reason, except, and it's like we're no different. He's like, when the Earth gets tired of us, they'll shake us off too. And it's kind of seeming like it's doing it now. You know what I'm saying? Like, people always think, like, you watch movies and you always think, oh, it'll happen in a day or 2 days. No, it's slow moving. That's why, our government's getting rid of climate change because they want to try to ignore it, but you can't ignore it. Hurricane season is about to hit. It's going to be the most devastating thing about it. 30% of America is going to be uninhabitable in less than 4 years.
Jesus Christ, bro. That's a pretty bold prediction right there. In less than what part are you looking at right
Okay, so the coastal lines of California, as you've already seen, the fire and water damage insurance won't insure that. The Midwest from monstrous tornadoes, and part of the South from flooding. Think about Florida's going to be gone. Los Angeles is going to be gone.
I can't disagree with, especially, you say California, you got the Florida thing going on, and you do have a lot of major weather events going on in the Midwest. So it's hard to disagree with I hope it doesn't happen so quickly. That's quick. 4 years. Those people are already buying that property up right now. You got the corporations buying that property.
Buy whatever
up.
you want, as long as but they can make those weather machines that'll actually just make the weather change if they want to. But think about Los Angeles. The insurance companies are showing you these places are inhabitable because they're like, look, we're not going to keep insuring you. You became a natural disaster.
Do you think that they're not going to insure corporations? Because I think corporations are going to build the buildings differently, and what they're also going to do is make sure that there is more fireproof. You know what I mean?
Well, corporations have the money to do whatever. Like, say, corporations are going to come in, they're going to raise the land up.
They're going to make sure the vegetation that they have there is off enough to where it will not,
or they're going to put enough trees in there and put those they have the buildings now where they put the plants all over them and they keep them cool. They can do all that stuff. They can do that for normal people. They just don't want to do it.
Yep.
With your broke ass.
Trump breaking with Netanyahu acknowledges real starvation in Gaza. President Donald Trump on Monday said he will work with European allies to set up food centers in Gaza, disagreeing with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu assessment that there is no starvation in the war-torn strip. Based on television, those children look very hungry, Trump said, but we're giving a lot of money and a lot of food, and other nations are now stepping up. Trump later added, some of those kids that's real starvation stuff. The president's remarks, which came during a bilateral meeting with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer at Trump's golf resort in Turnberry. We're far more critical of Netanyahu's strategy than he were just a few days ago when he left for his trip to Scotland. They also come as Israel faces growing condemnation from some of the U.S. closest allies. Even as Trump again dismissed the idea of recognizing Palestine's state, he seemed unbothered by European allies doing so. More than 200 members of the British Parliament signed a letter Friday calling for the immediate recognition of Palestinian state. Stormar last week said that the suffering and starvation unfolding in Gaza is unspeakable and indefensible, and called statehood the inalienable right of the Palestinian people. French President Emmanuel Macron last week announced that France would recognize the state of Palestine. The United Kingdom, France, Germany also issued a joint statement Friday calling for an end to the war and for Israel to lift restrictions on the flow of aid. Trump on Monday repeated his concerns that some of the food aid was stolen by Hamas, though multiple media outlets have debunked or cast doubt on that claim. On Saturday, as criticism intensified and images of dead and malnourished children were shared around the world, Israel Defense Forces announced aid airdrops will begin Saturday evening and that humanitarian corridors for United Nations convoys will be opened. But Israel has continued to contend that there is no starvation and that such claims were being propagated by Hamas. Trump, however, appeared unnerved by images he'd seen. I see it, and you can't fake that, Trump said, so we're going to be even more involved. Starmer has not put a timeline on when the UK would recognize the state of Palestine, but he told Trump on Monday that what's happening in Gaza is an absolute catastrophe. I think people in Britain are revolted at what they're seeing on their screens, Starmer said. We've got to get that ceasefire, and thank you, Mr. President, for leading on that, and also just getting more aid in as well.
Yeah, no, we reported on the starvation last week, what's going on over there. And I mean, someone probably just held their phone up to Trump and showed him a couple pictures because he was disgusted. I was disgusted when I saw it.
Yeah, man.
And then to say, they're like, hey, no one is starving. They're like, yeah, I just had a taco yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
Just the pictures that you made, you got to look at YouTube made our videos unmonetizable. And I'm not mad about that. I don't even care. I put them out anyways. We could have went back and took those pictures off and so made it so that we can monetize on those pictures. But I wanted you to see that. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? To me, those videos are long form, unmonetizable, the whole nine. To me, I don't care. It's not about money or anything like that for me when it comes to that.
It's about letting the people know what's really going on.
Man. Those pictures that you put up were like, man, it was almost hard. It was hard for me to watch, man.
Yeah, it was hard. I was looking them up as we were doing the video, and I almost start, tearing up because it's so sad. They put these people in now imagine this, folks. They have the Palestinian people are in a fenced-in area. They're in concentration camps being starved to death. What does that sound like? Where have we heard this in history? And now you hear about that. Look, people being in cages, being starved to death. And then people are like, there's no gas chambers. It doesn't matter. They're in the hot sun starving to death.
I mean, what the gas chamber, at the end of the day, is them. You haven't seen them being shot at when they're trying to crawl for food aid, when they're being killed. I'm hearing 60 people died today. This many people died this day. That's the gas chamber right there. You don't know. You don't realize that. That's the gas chamber right there. What about
the parts where they'll put the aid there? They'll be like, all right, go and get it. And they'll let them all run there, and then they'll start shooting at them.
Or they'll blow them up, or something else. I mean, you guys act like this is a game. You got American troops who said that they've watched them do this. You know what I mean? Well, cars will be driving away, and they'll just blow up the car. You know what I mean? This is it's gotten to the point where it's just so horrific. And then at the same time, you're starving people out. Like, that's what you're doing. You're acting like there's such a big war going on with Hamas, and there's not, man. You're just basically trying to take their land. That's what you're doing. You're taking their land, killing their people, and trying to make them suffer so much that they want to leave, that they have to leave. Oh, there's not enough people here anymore. They just left. No, they didn't just leave. You killed them. You don't need, at the end of the day, tell you what would be easier how to get Hamas, let people go back to their everyday lives, and then keep your troops in there. Keep your troops in there if you need to. Do what you need to do.
No, I don't think the IDF doesn't need to be around.
No. I'm not saying that they should be killing people. Yeah, I know I know. But at the end of the day, I want people to start. What they want to do is just drive you out anyways and act like they're not trying to drive you out, and they're doing that. I'd rather them say, you know what, let's pretend that we're trying to get things back to normal, son, because they're not going to just move out. They're not just going to leave, bro. They're not
going to leave.
Even with a ceasefire. They won't.
Why would you leave? That's your home. You know, even though they bombed
I'm not talking about the Palestinians.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the IDF. I'm talking about the Israel, period.
We saw France came out. France was like, yo, we recognize your state. We recognize the Palestinian state.
But at the same, is that going to change what goes going on in the West Bank, though? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Is that going to make them leave the West Bank? No, they're not going to leave the West Bank. They're going to stay there. They're going to start taking up parts of Palestine. They've already probably encroached upon the Gaza Strip. Yeah, you know what I mean? So nothing's going to get them. They're not going to leave. So there needs to be some type of a ceasefire agreement which says, okay, you can keep troops here until they get themselves back. Because right now they don't have a government. They have nothing going on there. It's just basically rubble. So you have to secure something because
I've seen the pictures. It is rubble.
Rubble. They know it too. That's why they're doing it for. So you can tear everything down. They said they have a trash, there's probably multiple of these though. That's like, it's all in meters and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not really adapt to that, but it was just huge. It's like tall as hell, like buildings tall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just that runs as long as hell. So just imagine what kind of filth and disease is building up, because we don't think about those type of things. All that feces, all that has to go somewhere. Like, where is it going? They don't have bathrooms. There's nothing going on here.
Nothing.
At all. It's sad, man. At the end of the day, they said that they're going to do like a 10-hour window a day or something where they can allow airdrops and food to come in. But I don't trust that either, man. No. I don't trust you. Got AIDS.
The UN ultimately needs to step in and go there and keep their own troops there.
And that's who needs to be in there. You're correct when it comes to that. That's who needs to be in there. It needs to be the UN. The IDF needs to leave.
Because they're letting the IDF tell you lies. Like, oh, yeah, they're getting food. Hamas is doing. There is no Hamas. Hamas is gone. They ain't got no guns. They're all in cages.
Yeah, I mean,
how's Hamas still an army when everyone's in cages starving right now? How you fighting a one-sided war?
Absolutely, man.
You're creating your own Holocaust. It's the Gaza cost now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and there's no other way to put it, man. Like I say, it's a sad situation, and we're going to keep reporting on it as much as we possibly can, because people are starving as we're sitting here talking, enjoying our lives, living our everyday lives. There's people across the world being killed, massacred, maimed all day, every day. This is what's going. This is their life, man. What do you think that's creating? We talk about people going through trauma here. Oh, this person was whooped in their home for this many years, or this happened over here. These people are watching their families murdered, maimed, gunfire all day, being blown up all around them. What do you think that you're creating? And they're going to be mad in 10 years from now.
They had the video of the lady. She left her home just to go get some food. She came back and her home was bombed. All her kids were killed.
What do you think you're creating? Do you think 10 years from now, when those kids grow up, what do you think they're going to be? You call them animals, you're creating animals. Just like Tupac said, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you say? The hate
America eats their babies.
You know what I'm saying? The hate, period. Like, what do you think that you are creating here? What do you think you would make ask yourself, if your family was murdered, or your sisters, brothers, or whoever else were maimed, blown up in front of you, and you grew up to become grown, how would you feel? What would you become?
Yeah.